Less than 6 days after an alleged terrorist event in Sydney, this government is banning Australians from seeing what occurred. Yes, George Orwell's Big Brother is now alive and well in Australia, only it's actually Big Sister in the guise of our eSafety Commissioner, an American woman named Julie Inman Grant. Who? Julie Inman Grant, who was appointed by Malcolm Turnbull to make the internet a safer place for us all, but mainly for kiddies.
Well, good morning. I'm here with Julie Inman Grant, who is the eSafety Commissioner. And Julie is heading up our federal government's effort to make the internet a safer place for everybody online, but of course, especially children.
Under Albanese, Inman Grant now has an increased budget of $42 million a year of your money to police what you can and cannot see online, along with a very healthy annual salary of almost $445,000. You also paid $40,000 for her to trot off to Davos to attend the World Economic Forum, where she blithely dismissed the American concept of free speech as not being relevant in Australia.
Hi, I'm Julie Inman Grant, Australia's eSafety Commissioner.
I attended the World Economic Global Summit as the eSafety Commissioner.
Do you believe that the First Amendment has too high a bar for the online era?
The First Amendment does not apply in Australia. The First Amendment does not apply in Australia.
So who exactly is she making the internet a safer place for with your money? Well, certainly not average Australians and certainly not conservative Australians. Rather, Miss Inman Grant is a radical woke activist using her vast power and funding, in my opinion, to aggressively promote woke identity politics, including transgenderism, and to censor information about Islamism. But you be the judge. Strike one. This time last year, Julie Inman Grant disgracefully banned a tweet by breastfeeding expert Jasmine Sussex. Jasmine simply criticised an article about a transgender woman, in other words, a biological male, and his supposed attempts to lactate or chest feed. That tweet from a wonderful Australian mum and breastfeeding and health expert can no longer be viewed in Australia, although you can read it elsewhere in the world. Strike two. Last month, the entire world was astonished when Julie Inman Grant banned a tweet criticising an Australian transgender man, i.e. a biological female, who has had her breasts removed and who has a proclivity for bondage, shares images of bestiality and such like, who has been appointed to the World Health Organization. The banned tweet simply showed the photo of this person, Teddy Cook, and set out reasons why the author thought he was unfit for the job at the UN, this individual. The eSafety Commissioner's notice to X threatens civil penalty proceedings and a maximum penalty of $782,000 for failure to remove that tweet. But it looks like Julie Inman Grant's zealous advocacy for transgenderism has backfired.
Julie Inman Grant, I want to thank her very much for bringing attention to this issue. It wasn't very smart. This is the Streisand effect in full bloom. The original tweet was only seen 450,000 times. Now it's at 1.5 million, and all the subsequent tweets by people like yourself and politicians and everything, it must have exceeded 20 million now.
As Victorian Libertarian MP David Limbrick says, Julie Inman Grant has made a laughing stock of this nation and brought us into disrepute. Strike three. Now this week, Julie Inman Grant is back again, banning and censoring the graphic vision of the alleged stabbing event that occurred earlier this week in a church in Sydney. That's right, you are not allowed to see what was live streamed in Sydney, an attack of the popular Bishop Mari Emanuel.
So if they fail to remove the content, then we can go to the search engines such as Google or Bing to really minimize the amount of content the Australians can see.
Welcome to our own Orwellian dystopia. As one person said on Twitter, it is a stupid, ignorant overreach that betrays a profound misunderstanding of the Commissioner's role and the intent of the legislation. Julie Inman Grant clearly lacks the capacity to perform her duties and is abusing her powers. End of quote. And Elon Musk's X has now put out a statement saying, quote, Australia's eSafety Commissioner does not have the authority to dictate what content X's users can see globally. We will robustly challenge this unlawful and dangerous approach in court, which threatens free speech everywhere. This woman, the eSafety Commissioner, has made a laughingstock of us all, of Australia. She is out of control.